I feel like it's always just been reading energy. When you're taking someone's portrait, it's like I have to reflect their energy back to them in a hopefully beautiful way. That's what I try to do with my portraiture. But then with the aura photography, I get to actually prove to people what their beautiful and positive attributes are.
Hello, and welcome back to Seek the Joy podcast. Happy Seek the Joy Tuesday. Happy August. I'm your host, Sydney Weiss, and I'm excited. I know I say this all the time, but I am truly excited to share with you this week's new episode. It's a powerful, deep, honest, and reflective conversation. And I was so excited, truly, to sit down with Lisandra Vazquez. She is the smiling face and beautiful, intuitive photographer behind Auraology. And Auraology was created really to bring light into the world through showing people what their aura currently says about them. Because I don't know if you know this, but your energy introduces you before you even speak. When you walk into a room, the vibe, I guess you can say, that you give off just speaks volumes. And so having the awareness and the understanding of what is in your energy field, I think it's incredibly powerful. And so the ability to take a photo of your aura, to see the different colors and the placement, and then to get a reading, because I really think that is the most fantastic part about the whole experience of getting a photo of your aura is the reading that comes with it. It is so empowering to know what it is that you're sharing and carrying, and what you can work on within yourself to continue to heal and empower and grow. And so Lisandra and I sat down and we chatted all about her journey with photography and reading energy, and her desire really to go deeper that led her to Kundalini Yoga and a 40-day meditation that brought her to aura photography. You guys are going to love that story. We dive deep into aura magic, what our aura is, the different colors in our aura and its placement. We talk about auras that expand out versus auras that are closer in, and how a reading works. And Lisandra actually breaks down the colors and the energy in my aura during this week's new episode. And it is scary, crazy accurate, and let's just say it is super on brand, and I am so excited to share that with you guys. We also talk about living in alignment, shaping and taking advantage of the energy we're sharing with the world, checking in with our intuition, and really embracing the lessons that appear for greater healing. Plus, we talk about doing the inner work to balance the divine feminine and masculine, surrendering to the universe and trusting that we've done the work. Lisandra shares her biggest dream, and so much more. I am super anxious and excited to get into this week's new episode, but before we dive in, I've got to share with you the iTunes review of the week, and this week it comes from Gamers1515, and it says, "Makes me happy. Sydney is such a beautiful soul inside and out. Tuesdays are the brightest days when I get to listen to the podcast, which is always filled with so much wisdom and happiness. Whether I'm going to work, cleaning around the house, going on my morning walk, I am happy while listening to Seek the Joy. I learn so much and simply just feel good. So thank you, Sydney." Oh my God, this is such a nice review. Thank you so much, Gamers1515, for rating and reviewing the podcast. And guys, if you've been enjoying this podcast, or even if it's your first time listening to the show, if you want to give us a little love and support, a rating and review really helps us out. I know every single podcast and every single podcaster says this, but it is so true. Ratings help new people find the show and also tell people what Seek the Joy is all about. So when you leave us a rating and review, take a screenshot of that review, send it to Sydney@seekthejoypodcast.com. I will send you our guide for infusing more joy into your life. Plus, it is a really awesome way for us to connect outside of the show, because at the end of the day, this is what it's about. It's about connection and community and sharing who we are and our journeys and our experiences and really coming together. So I'm excited to continue to connect with so many more of you. All right, guys, that's it. It was so much fun to have this conversation with Lisandra. We actually recorded in person, which I was super stoked. Does anyone even say stoked anymore? I don't know. I was really excited about it. I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this one. After you tune in, join the conversation on our social media pages. We are at Seek the Joy Podcast everywhere. And I don't know. I'm just so grateful for everything that Lisandra shared in this week's new episode. And it is such a fun and deep and insightful conversation. And we could have kept going. We could have kept talking. So without further ado, here is my conversation with Lisandra of Auraology.
I promise I won't talk like that the whole time.
I think it actually would be kind of hysterical.
It's like, I think people, when they meet me, they don't understand what's happening.
And then they just hear this like really sultry voice.
Hello.
You know?
Nice to meet you. Welcome to your aura reading.
I should keep this.
Yeah.
I think it's hysterical. Yeah. So where should we start? I mean, when did you first pick up a camera? When did you get into photography?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know aura photography wasn't exactly where you started.
The thing.
Yeah. So when did this start?
It goes back a little further because I was acting first originally.
Oh.
And that stems from when I was born in Puerto Rico. I lived there till I was 8, and then we moved to Ohio. I know my mom is a pediatrician. She got a job up there, and her, my brother, my sister moved to Ohio, and we kind of had to like assimilate to a new culture. We didn't speak the language, and so the running joke in my family is that we learned to speak English by watching Barney.
No.
And so so we I watched entirely too much TV, like Nick at Night, everything, like all the classics. Yeah. I'm like, I know every single episode.
Baby.
Yeah. All of the things.
Yeah.
So that's where I learned everything. I learned how to like everything, like HGTV, how to like work a sander, a power saw, and like also like learned timing, comedic timing, and how to like be like in the American culture.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned that. And I feel like that's why at a very young age, I wanted to be on TV or a performer or something like that, because that meant that I could give back, because I learned everything kind of from watching them. So I was like, all right, well, I guess that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I want to.
Because you saw it in front of you.
Yeah, I saw it in front of me, and I was like, okay, well, they made such a difference in my life, so I want to also do that. But I started acting after I got out of. I played sports my whole life, and that was kind of like what kept me busy when I was a kid. And then as soon as I graduated high school and went to college, I started acting in Florida. We went from Ohio to Florida, and that's where I did high school. And then I acted in Orlando, and I booked a movie called Sydney White. Funny enough.
Wait, the movie Sydney White?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to know something hysterical?
What?
My last name in German means white.
Hilarious.
So when that movie came out, I was like, okay,
you're like,
is this movie about me? Oh wait, no, it's not.
Is this me?
Wait, so you booked that movie?
Yeah. It was my first audition for like an actual movie. I don't really know what I was going for.
No.
I just dyed my hair black, like literally, and they were looking for a girl that was in a size 2 for this part in the movie that's called Amy. And I just like walked in, I read for the part, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're perfect. Can you dye your hair blonde?" And I was like, "Yeah."
I literally just dyed it black.
It's like not like totally, like it had dyed it the day before. Like it was so funny. And then they're like, okay, well then the next day they're like, okay, they want you. I didn't even have an agent.
Yeah.
But like they're like, the agent that sent me in, because she knew me, she's like, oh well, I'm representing you now, and
so this is the thing, and this is happening.
This is the thing, this is happening, and here we are. And so then I continued to work a little bit until I moved here. I moved here in 2008. That was like right after that movie came out, and I was working here, but like acting and actually being in the industry is very different
than what people expect. Or what we know.
When the actuality of it is, a lot of the times people don't take into account the amount of luck and timing that contributes to a career in that field, because talent alone isn't it. Yeah. So with the rule being that if you can see yourself doing something else, and then do that. And eventually I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm not living across the country from my family to to like work a crappy job, call out for half the day to go sit in a room with a bunch of other bilingual brunettes
for an audition.
To read a line about pizza. Like that's literally not what I came out here to do. And this was like almost like nine years ago. So if you think about like 2010, there was a lot less like body positive or like people of color, even on television. Like, I mean, there was, but it was definitely like a minor role. There wasn't a lot of like, so like for me, like just what allowed for me to have such an easy way to be like, this isn't even possible right now. I need to take back control of like what feeds my soul and what I can like, why am I out here? And so I've always kind of done photography. Like because I was studying art the whole time. Like I majored in art. And then I ended up going to Cal Arts in Santa Clarita for photography and focused on that. And then I've just been doing photography, traditional portrait photography ever since. So it's all, if you think about it now that I have this like 2020, of course it's
always
it's always much more clear, but or hindsight is 2020. I feel like it's always just been reading energy. When it's me coming from Puerto Rico and like trying to read the energy of people in the room and understand the language. And then in a scene, you're reading somebody's energy. And then when you're taking someone's portrait, it's like I have to reflect their energy back to them in a hopefully beautiful way. That's what I try to do with my portraiture. But then with this stuff, with the aura photography, I get to actually prove to people what their beautiful and positive attributes are.
This is so fascinating because your journey to photography, to doing aura photography wasn't linear. It wasn't like you picked up a camera at age 7 and you were like, I'm going to be a photographer and this is what I want to do. But it was acting. It was being in an environment where you are participating in capturing somebody's essence or capturing a moment. And when you decided, you didn't want to be in the room, you didn't want to do these auditions, it wasn't your calling, did you have a period of time where you're like, I need to get quiet with myself, I need to figure out what my next steps are? Or did you just know, like, this is not it, I'm going to move into the next thing?
Oh no, girl, I did a lot. I've been doing a lot of work. My joke is that my life is a series of women's retreats. I've been working.
So you've been doing the work. Like you've been going deep. You've been doing it. And how many retreats have you done?
I probably am too embarrassed to like actually say,
but
like not embarrassed. But it's like I started doing women's group work when I was probably about like 24 and I'm 33 now. So it's been, and I've always kind of done like, it's like just, I've always been like reading Deepak Chopra or something. So I've
always
done,
been kind of in this space.
Yeah. I've always done kind of a lot. I've been self-reflective in that sense. And before then, like even my first acting teacher, Yvonne Suhor, had us do The Artist's Way, which has morning pages and stuff like that. And she introduced us to Deepak Chopra and stuff like that. So I've always been into, I don't like to say self-help, but like, it's like self-reflection.
The self-reflection, the self-development, this wanting
self-development is a much more empowering word.
I think so too. I mean, it's this desire to want to go deeper, to really understand who you are, why you are the way you are. I often call it like the essence of who you are, which kind of sounds a little cliche, but I like to look at it as like, there are things that are in our peripheral all the time, the way we see things, the way we interact with other people, what we're attracted to. But it's another layer to go deeper within it and to understand the why behind it and to understand the reason why the pieces of who you are kind of fit the way they are. I love what you said too, that this has always just been about reading energy. They often say, I believe this, I think you probably do too, that energy speaks first. The way in which you carry yourself, how you enter a room, it speaks volumes. And so when you don't speak the language, when it's a new culture, when it's an unfamiliar environment, the person or the person's energy greets you first. And so you probably always had to read energy that way in every environment to get a sense of how it would be for you. I can totally relate to that. Yeah. And it makes a huge difference when you can tap into it and be like, all right, I can show up as my full self, or I got to rein it in, or like, you know what I mean? Like, you get a read on the room.
That person cannot handle my 10. No. Okay, so I'm gonna draw back.
We're gonna go to a 5, and then maybe we'll go to a 2. But do you know what I mean? Energy speaks.
Well, that's why I
volumes.
Feel like, that's why I feel. Whenever people come into my booth, I'm like, you need to know what you're giving off. Mm-hmm. It's empowering, because if you like, for example, are like, sometimes I ask people if they come up with like reds in their aura, which is like passion, vitality, strength, ambition, passion. Mm-hmm. It's like very like root, strength. Like it's really good when you're usually you see those colors when you're making like foundational changes or financial.
Very tied to the root chakra.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So usually I'm like, okay, so all these like wonderful things, like you're doing great, you're doing this. Are you single? Like, and some of them times they'll be like, yes. And I'm like, okay, great. Are you looking for hookups? Or are you looking for like an open-hearted relationship? And then like whatever their answer is, I'm like, no judgment. If you're looking for hookups, then holler, just be safe and do it from your power. But also if you're looking for like an open-hearted relationship, you're going to want to be a little bit more discerning because, passion and like lust exists like on that same vibrational frequency. So when people are just like men or women, whoever you're attracted to, whoever is attracted to you, they're going to pick up on that. It's like lower hanging fruit.
Yeah.
So you just said not that they can't be a good compatible match for your heart as well, but you just have to be more discerning.
Yeah.
So anytime I see that, I'm like, be a little bit more discerning when you're
and when
out there
you know
on these
the energy
streets.
that you're carrying, the energy that you're giving off, you can work with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. Mm-hmm. And that awareness changes the game.
For sure.
Yeah. When did you start working with auras and aura photography? You picked up the camera. You were like, all right, this is what I want to be part of. Did it come from this spiritual self-development space?
Yes, it did. So I've been practicing Kundalini Yoga now I've probably for the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. I've done some women's groups with that. I play team sports my whole life, and I'm one of 3, so I think I just like to be.
You got to be in that environment.
Yeah, I like a group.
Yeah,
I'm good with a group.
You don't like to do it alone.
Well, I work for myself. I'm always by myself, so like whenever I can get a group, I'm in a group.
It's an interesting balance, right? Like working for yourself, having that like solopreneurship. Situation, but then needing that balance with the group. I think it's interesting. Yeah.
I like it, but I also do need my space.
Mm-hmm. I'm one of 3 too, so I got you. I get it.
It is, yeah, man. So with the women's groups that I've been doing, it's the Kundalini Yoga has done a lot for me, but this year in particular that we had been doing it was last year. We were doing a 7-month women's group, and during this 7 months we did a 40-day karmic cleansing of the feminine arc line meditation. And and the purpose of I wanted more clarity on my photo business, because I was like, what am I doing? Like what is my direction? Because I'm not really building anything and just saying yes to the work that's coming, and that doesn't feel fulfilling. So I was like, all right, what is it? What's the next thing? And while we were doing that 40-day meditation, I just kept getting like smacked in the face with aura photos. And I was like, first of all, I'm an art snob because of Cal Arts. So I like conceptual art snob, and so I'm like, that's not real photography.
You had to kind of challenge yourself.
Well, it was my ego. Yeah. My ego's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, try again, universe. Give me something else. Tell me I have to go contact Annie Leibovitz. Like, and that she's just going to be like, there you are, finally. Right. Like, okay. Yeah. Like, that's what my ego wanted.
Yeah, of course.
But then it's like, oh, aura photos. I'm like, still not actually kind of sure what that is, but I'm gonna go look it up. And so then I talked to my friend Kelly Knight, who owns Modern Mystic Shop in Atlanta, and she was doing the 7-month thing with me, and she's like, oh no, it's like, oh no, that's a business. And she's like, and we have photographers that come through my shop, and it's great. And I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. And so then I started doing some research. I looked up the gear and then this and that. And then I was like, oh, okay, that can actually work. And as soon as I started like looking up the gear, and the business was extremely clear, and I've never seen a path
as clear
that's
as this one.
so crystal clear. And I was like, oh yeah, cool, I'm doing it. And then like I went back to Kelly and I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna do it. She's like, great. She's like, what are you gonna name it? And I was like, oh, I don't know yet. I'll figure it out. I'm like, has to be
It'll come to me.
She's like, it'll come to you. She goes, well, why don't you just ask Yogi Bhajan for it during meditation? And I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can just ask Yogi Bhajan for, okay, then that's a little weird, but okay.
But I'm gonna go with it.
I'm like, but I'm gonna do it. And I got up from my sadhana and I was like, all right, Yogi Bhajan, like, show me the name. And like, it was like, it's so weird because I'm like, okay, like, it's weird because like I'm not getting a name, but I'm being shown this like nebulous, like pink, like almost like not an aurora borealis, but it was more of like a faraway galaxy, but it was like pinkish, and I was like, okay, so galaxies. I don't know. So I'm just like, I guess I'm gonna hit the Googles, and so I was like, just like searching, and I'm like trying to think of like if there's like some sort of like faraway galaxy that's actually named Aura something. Yeah. Like okay.
Putting the pieces together.
Yeah, putting the pieces together. Like, I'm like very clearly being shown this, and I'm like, okay, well. But then I just kept running across all sorts of ologies and onomies, and then I was like, oh. Auraology. And then I looked up to see if it was an actual thing, and it's not. So I was like, okay, cool.
There it was.
Then it's me. Then that's what I'm going to do, because it's the study of auras. Because, imposter syndrome, when we do
100%.
these things, you're like, okay, I know the things that I know, but like, I know there's also people that know a little bit more than I do. And so who am I to think that I'm an authority on something that I'm not, that I don't feel like, that I feel like I have so much left to learn.
Yeah.
That's why I call it Auraology, the study of auras, because it's a growing thing. Yeah. It's going to be able to grow with me. And like, I'm definitely so much more knowledgeable about energy than I was a year ago, or even like 6 months ago. So I couldn't have given myself a better name for the company with like perfect. A message where it's just like, okay, it's growing.
Because what's interesting is it's growing and it's shifting with you as you grow and shift and change. Yeah. And as your understanding and your knowledge and your awareness, and it's perfect. Yeah. It's incredible.
I give myself the perfect out.
No, I mean,
the perfect in.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect in because our auras are constantly changing. What your aura is now could change after a conversation, right? It can change in a week. And so it's a reflection of you too and your business. And I love that your friend was like, just ask Yogi Bhajan for it.
She's great.
I love that because I've shared this on the podcast. I've shared this with you. I also practice Kundalini Yoga, and I started in 2014, and I actually have not done my practice in about 6 months. And so it's very powerful when you do tap into it, and when you do, even if you're not super consistent with it, what is revealed to you, even on just a molecular, cellular level, you're not always seeing or hearing, or it comes to you, the shifts and the changes. I'm not articulating myself the best way I would love to in this moment, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so
they call it a technology.
It's a ton.
Yeah, it's a technology, and it works really quickly. And the teachers that I have had, it basically call it an app. Like I love that. It's just like a quick download, and you're like what's going on, girl? Like, we have a Kriya for that. Like, let's do it. Like, there's something that you can do. Like there's this thing called the 1 minute breath, where you can, it's like the other day I was feeling super anxious in the car, and then I took out my timer and I was like, nope, I'm going to do the 1 minute breath. And it's just like breathing in for like slowly breathing in for 20 seconds, holding it for 20 seconds, and then breathing out for 20 seconds. And that's supposed to just completely reset.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, I mean, it does.
It does.
So
It does. I love that this came to you through a meditation, through a series of Google searches, putting the pieces together. And so you
treasure hunt.
It is a treasure hunt because life is that treasure hunt always. And so Auraology, the study of auras.
Yeah.
Did you then pick up a book and start diving in and looking at the different colors and the positionings and what it all means?
Yeah.
I mean, did you just throw yourself into it?
And it's, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but like sometimes you pick up a book and you're like, it's like granola with a dry mouth. It's like, though you can't, like, I literally like can't like this, like and also you're sleepy. Like somehow you're like, oh, I can't get through
Literally me throughout law school. 100%.
So Sydney at law school is what this was not.
It was
reading about auras and reading about energy is just like I don't consider myself a super fast reader. Like I'm not super slow, but these books I was just like boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
It was just like, oh, it was more of a remembering than really
like a
having
learning
to
in that
cram, which just like validated that I was operating in alignment to
100%.
where my next phase in life is leading me to.
Yeah, because when it comes easy, when it's literally like you're moving through it quickly or not quickly, but at a pace that like feels good. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's second nature. It was like I love what you said, that it was like a remembering as opposed to a learning. And so what was it like getting all the equipment and setting it up and having your first session with someone, taking their photo? I mean, did it feel like putting on like an old pair of jeans, like comfortable, like you knew what you were doing?
I was terrified. I'm like, I wish it was that beautiful, but I was terrified.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I didn't want to do it wrong.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I did a couple of them here at home with friends and loved ones, and so it was very easy to do that, and they were very forgiving as I like kind of used a cheat sheet in that moment, right? And had to, because at first it's like I kind of was just learning what the colors meant. I knew what the positions it was a little chunky at first.
Yeah,
but then my first event was actually in Bonnaroo with Kelly. Kelly's my girl.
Your friend.
Yeah. So
I feel like I know Kelly now.
Yeah. No, everyone knows Kelly. Kelly and Modern Mystic had a setup next to me at Bonnaroo, and so we were right next to each other, and we also had our friend Helene, palm reader. So it was like the three of us were set up there.
Yeah,
and it was really nice that business wise was not great where we were positioned, because there was just not a lot of walking traffic.
Yeah.
But as far as experience wise, to get my to get a couple readings, to get my feet wet, and to get readings at a pace that I wasn't rushed.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Because I was able to really connect with people, and so it was really nice. And I feel like the people that did come through really were meant to come and have a reading for me. And then that following weekend we did Modern Mystic in Atlanta, Kelly's store, and it was you had stepped
into your groove a little bit.
Yeah, I was thrown into my groove guerrilla style because it was sold out. So I was just
no way.
Yeah, it was completely we were completely sold out.
That's
and
awesome.
I didn't schedule myself a break. I'm a jerk. And I just because I forgot, and I was like, oh, okay. I just wow. Yeah. But then I was like, no, you guys didn't do it.
It's so cool.
But I was invigorated by it.
Yeah.
There was nothing about it that was tiring to me.
That's the key, is when you're invigorated by it and you're like, holy shit, I can keep going. I can keep doing this. I don't need to take a break. When I work on this show, that's how I get. It'll be literally 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, you got to go to sleep because you've got 2 days before you got to go back to work again. And so once you get going in the thing that lights you up, that brings you joy, that is your passion, that is aligned with the message and what you're supposed to be part of and what you're supposed to share. I mean, it's a game changer. I mean, it lights you up like nothing else. And so you just have kept going, and you've kept doing events and sharing who you are and sharing I really believe it's sharing these gifts that have come through you. And so when you sit down to do a reading with somebody after they've taken a photo, and I know you also offer the video as well, do you, in the morning or the day, do you do anything to connect, or do you just sit down and look at the energy and it just flows through you and you can tell them what's going on?
So before the day starts, I'll do a little meditation or a little prayer. Sometimes, I just don't have time to do a full meditation because I just drove really far and I have to set this up. So business logistics girl is driving my body. And so I don't really have a lot of time. Yeah. But before my first client goes, I'll clear the space. I'll clear the space, have some clearing spray. And then I'll just say a prayer and be like, please, to my guides, and just be like, please just allow everyone that comes through here to leave better than they did. And whatever messages come through, please allow them to be for the highest good of everyone involved. Yeah. And that's kind of the energy that I set. And what's really good about the space that I create with the booth or the yurt, whatever it is, they're coming into my sacred space and then they get to leave.
I love that.
So it's not like I feel like that's what is also energetically protecting me is that you come into my space and I'm not just constantly going into other people's bubbles. They're stepping into my
And you set the space, energy. You set the intention, you've set the boundaries.
And I've set the nurturing place for them to feel safe. Yeah. No, I'm 0% judging anybody. No, I'm just supportive. I'm your supportive girlfriend that's going to tell you how beautiful you are, and then also warn you if you got something going on.
Yeah. You and I have known each other a month, maybe month and a half. Yeah. I think you're phenomenal. I feel like when we connected right away. I feel like I had known you forever. I should probably mention I'm in your apartment right now recording.
Yeah, she's in my home.
I'm in her home. We're recording for this podcast. When you greeted me at the door, it was kind of so natural, as if I would know where I was going. And I think that's very much you, just setting the space, setting the intention, having it be a good, positive, nurturing experience for people. And like we said earlier, the energy that you are carrying, the energy that you bring forth, it's reflected, it bounces off of you. And so I think that's really important that you've set that space for yourself.
I feel like there's so much more because there's so much more than obviously you get a photo or a video of your aura. You get a photo and a video. But I don't think that's what I do.
No.
That's the artifact that you get to keep, but the service is the most important part to me and the experience of it. So that's if people ever have anything to say about the not liking their photo, they've missed the point of the whole thing from my heart, but it's also their journey. So if that's where they're at,
and it's about the connection that you create and what you can share through sitting down and having that moment with that person and connecting. Because I think, while there are some people who can see auras, and I think that's incredible and what a gift to have, but most of us aren't tapped into that, right? And so to have a piece of technology or equipment where you can get a visual of what's going on around you, I think it's phenomenal.
Let me tell you about the technology.
Yeah, I want to hear. Okay. I think because I don't know.
To explain how it works.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some people who have had this experience before who haven't, but I'd love to talk about that. And then if we could maybe even break down just what different colors often show up and what all that means, because there are going to be people who listen to this who are going to meet you, who are going to find you at an event. And so anyway, I'd love to break it down.
Word. Okay. All right. So here it is. So the way that the aura is picked up through this technology was created by a man named Guy Coggins, and he's a sweet man who lives on the Redwood, California, Redwood City, I believe. And when I decided I wanted to do this, I went up there to visit him.
Wow.
And then when I was working at CalArts, I'm a digital photographer and I work with gifts a lot as a part of my creative practice. Yeah. And I did a gallery of cinemagraphs, if you know what those are, which is basically art gifts.
That's so cool.
So I'm I know that I have the technical know-how to potentially be the only person that offers video versions.
Yeah.
But I just need to know if the output quality is going to be good enough, and like what's the file type, like what, like I just needed to see
know like what you were doing, how to do it, how to put it together.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
and like I just don't think that they understood like what I was asking, so I had to go up there.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's fine. I'm gonna go drive up there.
Yeah.
So I drove up there. Sweet man. But he showed me like all of like, it's like Willy Wonka showing you the whole chocolate factory when I just had one question.
That's amazing.
I had one question. So I'm like, okay. But the software. So there's obviously a lot of people have had their images taken with the Polaroid version. And the Polaroid version and my version have the same, take the information in the same way, which is through the hand. And there's little stainless steel sensors on the acupressure points of your hand through this little sensor box. And I believe the ones that are taken with the Polaroid have dual, like that, with both hands. Mine just has one on the left. And so then with my stuff, with my gear, it gets taken through your left hand, and it's the energy that's reading is through biofeedback technology, and it's the energy that's being emitted from your meridian centers. And then the software I have turns it into a color interpretation of your aura. So nothing can actually photograph the aura that we have. But this is about as close as we can get. So cool. Guy Coggins worked with a bunch of color seeing psychics. Like you mentioned, there are people who are gifted enough to see it, and he calibrated it with a number of them to ensure its accuracy. Yeah. And I've done thousands of readings at this point, and I make people cry all the time. Yeah. And like people get creeped out, but they're like, what? Yeah. How did you know that? Yeah. Like that just literally happened. And I was like, listen, Linda, like, I don't know. Like I'm literally just a messenger.
I'm the messenger.
You're like, I'm just and like, it's all storytelling at the end of the day. Like that's how I feel like when I read your aura, like I like tell you the entire story of the energy that you're emitting.
Yeah. It's so cool.
And so,
I feel like we should take a step back. What is an aura for anyone that I just realized we didn't like define that, and there might be someone that's like, what are these two chicks talking about?
Like, what's an aura? So it's in the simplest way, the aura is the electromagnetic field that surrounds any living being. Inanimate objects actually have a little bit of energy around them, but it's not as large as like a human aura, or like even like pets, animals. They all have as an aura, but the human aura, a healthy human aura is like 2 to 3 feet around your body. You can expand. You can with doing energy work, you can expand it more. Some people, and the thing that makes up, to even get like a little bit deeper, the thing that makes up an aura is called prana. It's life force, and some people are just born with like excess prana. It's like being born with a extra athletic ability, like it's just like not fair. Like, but like you can do work like Kundalini is a great thing to boost up your aura. But like there's just some people that are just like born a little bit like with. Then those are like people that like are just naturally like celebrities, public speakers. Like that's prana. That's excess prana. Yeah. So the aura is this electromagnetic field that's around you, and like the best way to describe it, like when you're like at a grocery store and you're in line, and sometimes when there's somebody like directly behind you, it doesn't matter. You're just like, all right, or whatever. But sometimes there's somebody that's like 2 feet behind you, and you're like, I want this person to leave immediately. I need them to go away. The strangers, you have no reason, no cognitive reason as to like, no cognitive reason as to like why this person is like like why?
It just feels like not good.
I need them to get away from me. Like all of a sudden you like shift, like your eyes turn completely black or something. Like, and that could be because they have a clashing aura to you, like clashing colors, or it's the shadow aspect of what you have, and you just don't, and you're just like, no.
And you're picking it up.
Yeah. Because sometimes we just don't like people when they show us the ugly sides of what we have.
Yeah. That is so true. That is beyond true.
So that's kind of like what I use for like, so then people can understand what, like how powerful the energy is. And sometimes like we tend to have people around us tend to have complementary aura colors, which if you think about
like
the color wheel,
anyway.
Yeah, if you think about the color wheel, it's like colors on the same side of that spectrum, but that doesn't mean that you don't have people that have different things going on around you.
Yeah,
too.
it's so fascinating. And then so within the aura are different colors. I think I remember looking at your site: red, yellow, orange,
Yeah, it's
blue,
like
green.
Reggie Biv.
Yeah.
The color spectrum goes like that, and then there's white. I see a lot of turquoise and golds as well.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. And those are all, especially turquoise is like the teacher, speaker, healer energy, and I'm around a ton of healers and teachers, so that comes up a lot.
Interesting. Have you done a recent photo of your aura?
Yeah, I do mine like almost once a month. Ooh. Whenever we have. So like my most recent, because I used to be in like the red oranges, which is like creative entrepreneur, like passionate and creative.
You were really deep in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. I was working, like just doing that. And then like after a while, it's always kind of in that family. Then it switched to gold for a little bit. This was like earlier this year. It was like January, February when we were finishing up the 7-month program, and I was just feeling really, I had made a couple of deals for the summer. It was just like feeling like I was magnetizing some good things. Yeah. And then recently I'm in like the turquoise-ish at the moment, which is, I feel like when the turquoise energy is, I call it the TED Talk energy, which is the feeling like in your skin where you can actually talk about the thing that you're an expert in. I know, lol.
I mean, LOL, we are sitting here on a podcast, so it's perfect.
Where you're feeling like you can, and it's their healing capabilities to that color, and actually just being really confident in your power without having to really force it.
I think that's so fascinating. I love that you've been tracking it and tracking it on your journey as you grow and you evolve with this business and with your own personal self-development work. I mean...
And like also tracking it with like whatever's happening in my personal life. It's really funny.
So do you see it reflected a lot? Like what's going on in your personal life? Will you see it in the colors that are in your aura? Yeah.
I mean, it depends on like the thing that's happening in my personal life, is if it's like, whether it's traumatizing or not, or like lifting me up.
So you've seen the color change. Have you also seen, because I'm so fascinated by this, have you also seen, like, because I know sometimes auras can be closer in versus farther out. Have you seen that in your aura as well change over time? Not
in mine, because I'm pretty steady.
You're pretty consistent.
As to like, I'm not someone who's like, I don't need to be, it's not my birthday every day. I'm not trying to be like on top of the bar like that. But like, also I'm not a hermit. I'm just like,
you're somewhere good in the middle.
I feel like I'm in the middle there. But there are some people, there's some people's auras that I've seen that come like directly above their head. And I'm like, because like Lisandra, the human, is, I can't really make judgments on people's things, because sometimes like I'm like, oh God, that's weird. Like, I don't know what to think of that. But then I just I'm like, well, I'm not the one reading this. Like, I'll just let whatever message is coming through, and I'll like actually just like sit back a little bit. And then I'll be like, I had one girl come in, her aura was like right above her head. And usually there's a good amount of color above the head. And I was like, okay, I'm like, just let it come out. And I was like, you really don't know you really don't feel like you have anything going on right now. And like, and also I'm like, so you're hiding. And she started crying. And I was like, yeah.
So if it's closer in, what does that mean versus if it's out?
It can mean that you're, I mean, it's not necessarily bad. Because I feel like, since, I'm a photographer, as you know, but like sometimes like when I'm like, photographing like retreats or something, or a very intimate space, I feel like that's when it helps to like really shrink my energy and just like be the smallest possible. So I feel like that's when you can like really, that's when it's like
closer in. Yeah. So it's almost more of a more intimate space, deeper. Does it reflect
deeper,
maybe like more
introspective.
reflective, introspective? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, and not everybody wants to, and sometimes we
Not
have
everyone wants to
periods
expand their aura.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And some people really do
Yeah.
want to expand their aura.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, I hate to keep saying Kundalini, but like, that's what Kundalini does help for that. It's not the only thing, but it is a very
It's
good,
such a powerful tool.
it's powerful
for that.
And like I always say, like, it's not just Kundalini that works very fast for, I think, for anybody, but anything that can get you to feel like you're vibrating at a higher rate and can get you to feel expanded and like on top of the world. Do that. Sometimes people feel on top of the world after a spin class, and I'm like,
so true. When
I'm
those
like, word, do you,
endorphins
boo
get
boo?
going.
Yeah, that's what's up.
So we took a photo of my aura.
Yes, we
Can
did.
we talk about it?
Yeah.
She's been hiding it from me. I saw a little peek.
I literally said, mind your business.
You literally were like, mind your business. And I was like, all right, I'll wait. Okay.
So, we'll obviously have a copy for you available on the onlines. You ready?
Ooh.
Okay. So this is me revealing Sydney's photo for the first time, and I will go over the way that we read the aura. Okay.
Okay.
So the way that the aura is read, on the right side of the body, left-hand side of the photo, is the masculine side. And then on the left-hand side of the body, right-hand side of the photo is the feminine side. And then right-hand side of the body is the past. On top of the head is the present. And the future side is the left-hand side. So we have a couple different colors going on here. On the recent, sorry, I'm laughing because it's so it's like actually really funny, accurate.
Okay.
So you see the difference between this kind of yellow and then this gold up here. So on the right hand side, on the recent past masculine side, you have yellow. Yellow is the color of intellect.
Okay.
Which is like what you give.
Yeah.
And also joy.
Yeah.
On brand.
Very on brand. Oh my God. Okay.
She got yellow. She got joy. She's all over it.
I have so much to say, but I'm just gonna let you talk.
Yeah. So that's what you're giving, and that's in your recent past. Your masculine side. You have a little bit of green there, which is nurturing and or self. When it's in the recent past, it can be self. It can be self love, nurturing. It can be something you give to others or yourself or all the above. And then you see how on the present moment, which is the very top of the aura, and it's also the outer band, so it's the same color on both. So it's your present moment, and the outer band is hopes and goals position. So they're one and the same at the moment. So what you're working on right now is also what you hope to attain, and that's gold. Gold energy is literally to go for the gold. I call it the Olympians mentality. So it's you raising your vibration. It's you leveling up. You're extremely talented. You have the ability to attain accolades, wealth, the things that you want. The trouble is sometimes with the gold energy is deciding. Sometimes we have trouble as humans deciding on the thing, but as soon as you do, boom, you can manifest things really quickly. And with gold in your energy, that's why it's very important that you use that strong little noggin of yours to really be very crystal clear on the energies and the things that you're trying to, and your boundaries. Because if you aren't clear on what you're aiming for, then you're not going to know what to say no to, because people are already attracted to bringing things your way. And that's a very important thing for you to be clear. Yeah. Discernment, and very much so. And you're bringing that into your future side. You see how you still have a lot more yellow here? So you're still bringing in that joy and that intellect. And I feel like a lot of that when I see yellow and green mixed together. So green is in your future side. It's in your feminine side, in what you're creating. So it's what you receive and what you're creating. And you have this beautiful green here. Green, it's peace, it's love, it's harmony. It's like the Mother Gaia energy. So it's creation, it's growth. When it's in the future position, I typically, I will make that a little bit more of an action-oriented thing because you're creating, and that's gonna be more prosperity. What are we calling in? This is like from this side. And since it has like a little bit of intention behind it because of the yellow and the green, it's not fully green. So it's like, it's still paired with your intellect. So this is like on the money with saying like, okay, like you need to like still be very clear with your intentions, but you're growing from an open-hearted space because green is also unconditional love. And it's like you already have a beautiful garden. What's next? What are you planting in it?
So the soil is there.
Yeah.
We've watered the soil. And now it's just about figuring out what are we bringing in.
You're not coming from a place of lack.
This is fascinating.
So, and you see how you have yellow on your face?
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So when there's a distinct color on the face, that means that's what you lead. Social mask often gets a negative connotation because it sounds like you're being fake, but it's not. That's what you lead with.
So
when people greet you, that's the joy.
I have felt very much like I've been in this third chakra space, and that is yellow. And I've literally had people tell me that yellow is my power color. And I've always been like, this is like for the last year and a half. Oh my God, I wish you guys could see your face right now. And I've had people be like, yellow is your power color. And I don't wear any yellow. Literally no yellow. None. Lisandra is like wearing a yellow
power suit.
Pajama suit today. I'm in white and blue. And so when I saw this, I was like, holy crap. Like, this is yellow. This is gold. There's green. I mean, the yellow on the face. I mean, it's like the space that you feel you're in. This sort of, for me, it's the, what is the third chakra? I'm like blanking on it right now.
Well, it's like more, that's the solar, like
the solar plexus. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's you really claiming who you are and yourself and your confidence. That plays into that gold too.
100%.
The confidence.
Yeah.
And your creativity too.
Yeah. And being able to own it and tap into it and play
Trusting.
with it and use it. And this is fascinating. Oh my God. I'm going to replay this reading. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for sharing this with me. So is my reaction, the reaction that people have in a moment in a session with you, is it like, whoa, like this clicks? Because like for me, it was like, damn.
I mean, it's not uncommon for people to be like, what? Yo, you're a stranger.
Yeah.
And like, and sometimes like people judge the color. And sometimes people will be like, I don't like that color. Yeah. But then as soon as I tell them I'm like, green. For some reason, people don't like the color green. Like they don't like that they come out green. But I'm like, honey, just wait. Just wait. Like, give me like 2 seconds, and then you're about to like it. Yeah. And then as soon as I explain it, they're like, oh no, I really do like that. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
But it's a reflection of our ego, and it's a reflection of the prejudgment we often
and it's okay. We all have that. We all have preconceived notions of what we think things should be, and
yeah. What's your favorite thing about this work, about aura photography, about connecting with people?
That's it.
Yeah, the connection.
Yeah, I really love showing people a beautiful side of them and connecting with them, and really just like, because I don't know what the process is like for other aura photographers. I can only speak to the way that like the messages move through me and what I'm called to do with people that come and have sessions with me. But for me, I am such a teacher at heart, in the sense that like, I like to see like, okay, what do you do with it?
Yeah.
So that's my favorite part, is just like looking at somebody in the eye and being like, yo, this is what's happening with your aura. But also, like, if you want bonus points, go home and make a list of your intentions. And then like take advantage of the energy that you're already putting out there. And because like, I would appreciate that if someone was like, because I like a tarot reading, I like a palm reading as much as the next person, but like, how's that going to help me like bring things into my actual life? But like, okay, so now I got a reading of like what my energy's doing, and now you have to be very like your aura, because your aura in particular is already saying that you're ready to receive. That's the green energy. You're ready to receive prosperity. You just have to be kind of crystal clear of the kind of prosperity that you want to call in.
Yeah.
And like, okay, wonderful. We're humans. We have free will. We can shapeshift this thing called energy. We're powerful. So what you gonna do? Like,
and I think that's what's important is that action item piece of this, right? It's like you receive the information and then it's like, now what? And I think in general, that's a piece that's always missing from a lot of these conversations is, well, okay, great. You find out all this wonderful, cool stuff, where you need to grow, where you need to shift, what you can keep doing, but then what do you do with it? And so making a list of intentions, being reflective and understanding, like for me, okay, discernment is huge and deciding where I'm going to put my energy and what I'm going to move forward with. And I've always got like a million ideas and it's about choosing which one and going with it. And so that action item piece I think is important. And then so have you had people who have come back to you after a reading 6 months later or just any time later and they're like, hey, I did what you said, I put into action. And have you had that experience? Because I think what's so cool too is that you've built and you are building a community around you and really genuine connections with people surrounding this work. And so, have people come back to you?
Yeah. So we actually go to Oakland quite a bit. We go to Northern California a lot. So there's a community up there, and I have people that come back to just like check in their auras.
Yeah.
And like, I'll be like, okay, what were your colors last time? She's like, no, like this is like, I had such a big shift and I went through this and this and this. And like, it's not even necessarily like the advice that I'll give them, but it's just the awareness that I give them, which is like, I feel like that is such a gift that I'm able to pass forward to somebody so then they can act accordingly.
I mean, like we've been saying this whole time, awareness is everything. And it's such a game changer.
And changing and like checking in with yourself is, for some reason it's underrated, but like I really do like to be autonomous, to be one with yourself and your connection to your intuition. However that shows up for you. Sometimes it's prayer, meditation. Sometimes people have a higher spirit that they talk to, whatever. Like, as long as you're like checking in and connecting with your intuition, like, that's, you can get all the aura readings you want, or you can like get all the crystals or anything like that. But if you're not checking back in with your intuition and really like listening to that inner voice, then
so true.
Then like,
then what's the point?
Then like you're just gonna have a lot of cute aura pictures and like some tarot decks,
I think
a lot of expensive
the big
crystals.
Message for me, based on what you're saying, is like you can do all of the aura photography, you can work with crystals, you can
psychic readings,
meditate, you can work with a psychic, a medium, whatever it might be. But there's always another step to it. And it's that process of checking back in with yourself, of being reflective, like we said at the beginning, doing that self-development, self-reflection work that allows you to continue to ascend, that allows you to continue to elevate, to master yourself, to master your work on yourself, and which is then in turn the work that you do in the world. I mean, it's huge.
It's always, because the lesson's always going to come back and slap you in the face until you're willing to do the hard work around it. There's no way around it.
And until you get quiet with yourself and allow yourself to move through something.
Because it's just going to show up in a different outfit. Like,
oh my God, it's so true. Like, it's so true.
In so many ways. You can't skip it.
No, you can't.
No.
So what is your spiritual practice like today? This practice of checking back in with yourself, of doing the self-reflection work, of self-development. Do you meditate daily? Do you journal? What does it look like for you now? So, are you doing another women's retreat? What's on the horizon?
At the moment, I just finished up that 7-month cycle, and I'm taking a little bit of a break from the women's work because I feel like that cuppeth is fulleth.
Yeah. Oh, that's such interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I really am called to work on stuff from a more structural masculine perspective, since I do feel like my goddess card is like, you know, like if you have like a subway card or something like that, the punch card.
Yeah.
Like my goddess card is like cute. Like she's ready to be like,
she's good.
She's ready to be like turned in for like a free sub, you know,
and to work
like,
on that masculine.
Yeah. Like, I need a little bit more structure, and I need to also be able to like, cause I like, again, I'm most of my clients are women. I'm 0% like 0% trouble connecting to like the divine feminine aspect of the thing. Yeah. I recently did a session with this wonderful guy called Jamie Woolrab, and I met him through the women's group. He did like a session for us, Voice and Body, and I reconnected with him, and I worked with him, and it was just so incredible what it was like to introduce like energy work and through a masculine vessel. Through a masculine vessel. And like I just like I did his aura earlier this week, and it was like my world was like a little rocked because I didn't know I needed it. So I think you should always kind of try to push yourself out of your comfort zone and try something new. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go back to like the women's group. And I still listen to, when I take my dog out for a hike every morning, I listen to White Sun. So I listen to Bauta Kauram, which is like the 25th Pari of Japji, and then there's Ekamai, which is the 30th Pari of Japji. So I'll just like listen to those. It's like one of the Bauta Kauram is for prosperity, and then the other one is, I think, just like the divine feminine strength. I might be getting it wrong, but
no, you're right. That one is very much connected to the divine feminine.
Yeah. So because we chanted those as a group, and they're very much just like a part of my daily practice. Yeah. And whether or not I actually can get on the mat and do any actual practice, that's definitely a part of my everyday. Yeah. Every single day. I don't miss any of that, but like, I do want to start
bringing more masculine and bringing more of that in.
I joined a gym that's right down the street. That's like, I said I like classes. I like being in groups. I'm a sucker for groups. So I joined. So the
workout class is perfect.
I also don't like to, I don't know if you're like this. But I mean, there's a lot of people that are like this. Like, I make so many decisions throughout the day that I don't want to have, like, literally, I do not want to have to have to try to do at the gym. No. I joined this like little class, that. like it's like a high intensity interval training thing.
That's very tapping into the masculine.
Yeah. So then I can just like go there for an hour and then make 0 decisions. Perfect. And be done with the thing. Yeah. So that's
so interesting.
Yeah. So, but that's another way to get in touch with, because when I was working with Jamie, he was like, he asked me where I breathe from. And I was like, well, I pointed here. That's where my heart's center. And he's like, that's really wonderful. He's like, but you're not taking up room. You're kind of like that. I'm apologizing for being there. He's like, you need to breathe from also like down here, from the root. And I'm like, oh crap. There's always work to do.
There's always work to do.
Always work.
And then what's interesting is as you do more of this masculine work, I wonder if there will be a moment where then the work becomes more of balancing the divine feminine with the divine masculine. Now that you have, when the time comes, tapped into both, the cuppeth runneth on both. Do you know what I mean? It's so fascinating because the work is always there and the understanding is always there. And I'm excited to see what this will look like for you, because it's not something we talk enough about, which is tapping into both the feminine and the masculine and then balancing it. And what I've noticed for myself is but a good amount of the last couple of years has been about learning how to balance the two and when to tap into which one and when to allow one to step forward and the other to step back. And it's a journey. Yeah. It's a process of self-understanding, self-mastery, everything else.
You're like the thing.
The thing.
I did do this I did auras in Denver. It was a women's retreat.
But when one day you will be at a men's retreat doing auras, and that will be an interesting full circle moment.
Yes, let's manifest that.
Yes, let's put it out there.
Let's put it out there. So no, but I was at a women's retreat. And then I did before and afters.
Yeah.
And most of the women had blocked receptivity.
Wow. Because the ability to receive is very feminine.
Yeah. So, and also like everyone was an over-giver in that group.
Interesting.
And so it was really great for us to start the weekend knowing that was a common thread in the group. So the facilitator could really tap into that and work through that with the group. And then by the end of it, we had more of a balance. And you can see that in the aura images as well. You can see when it's, and people ask me if there's bad colors. That's like a frequently asked question. People are always like, really? Is my aura black? Well, first of all, no, like, get out of here. And, I will be like, yes, your aura is black.
Like your soul.
It's like, wow, actually, you think you broke my camera. There's nothing. You're like a vampire. I don't even see you.
Hysterical.
No, but it's like everything, there's light and shadow.
There's a positive and a negative, a dark and a light to everything. Yeah. Yeah. It's fascinating.
But you can, and with that, like I said earlier, it was like the vibrational plane, like a vibrational plane. Every color exists in like a very specific plane. And you can tap in that plane of the color you like, for example, yellow, you can tap into like the good aspects of it, the joy, the intellection, and then you can be just like in your head and like not like, so it's very easy to tap like stuck in that like nothing's making me happy. Like it's like there's ways in which like you can get yourself into the shadow, but you can also, when you acknowledge that there is a shadow, you can easily just breathe it out and let it go and let it just pass through you instead of stay and like simmer.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to that awareness, right? So always. When you're aware of the dark, when you're aware of the quote unquote negative, whatever it might be, I kind of view it more as the areas where there's room for growth. So I look at like the shadow side of things as like, yeah, maybe it's a little darker, maybe it's a little more negative, but it's actually the space where I can challenge myself to grow. And so hysterical that someone asked you, or some people have asked you, like, are there bad colors? It's kind of like asking in astrology, are there bad signs? Like, is there like a sign no one wants to be? And it's so funny because I just had a conversation on the podcast about astrology, and we were kind of reflecting on the same thing, which is like, no, there's like nothing bad. It's like the light and the dark and where you choose to focus your energy and how you'll grow from it.
Yeah. With, I forget who or where I heard this from, but whenever you feel a trigger, in a negative way, or if you feel a pull or a tug, you have, I've learned, to turn that into gratitude for being like saying, thank you for revealing an unhealed part of myself. Cause I had to like, I've like in my previous, like my most recent relationship, there was something that completely trivial that triggered me in a negative way. And I was like, it triggered like a bunch of anxiety and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm grateful that this happened. This like weird circumstance happened because it revealed an unhealed part of me from a relationship from like 8 years prior. Yeah. So it was like, oh, I'm grateful for that. Cause now it's not, this guy isn't the problem. It was the guy before, like the guy before
the unresolved stuff that was lingering.
But now I can like just send some love to that version of me 8 years ago and heal that, like whatever little nuggets are left over, and then I can.
So interesting because recently somebody said to me something that is obviously stuck with me, which is, different relationships, different moments obviously teach us different things. There are triggers that come up, old wounds, and often you need to be triggered in that moment to have the opportunity to heal it. And then once you heal it, you move through it and you step into a new, brighter, shinier version of yourself.
That's why the universe isn't going to give you a free pass. No. You got to heal it or you got to learn it. And then, because it's going to come back.
It's going to come back. And that's why I've become very big with myself on when I see these moments, like encapsulating it, taking it, being like, okay, what's going on? What do I need to shift? What do I need to change? What do I actually more often than not, need to let myself sit through to allow myself to move? Because often in our society, and I'm sure, let me know if this resonates for you, we often want to move so quickly through the stuff, through the mud, to get to the other side, because we don't want to be in the stuff. We don't want to be in the mud. We are in such a fast-paced world, and so our inner work often feels like it needs to be fast-paced. Our journey to the next step, to where we're going to be in our life, in our career, in our relationships, needs to be so speedy and so fast.
I mean, I'm a double Virgo,
Oh
so
my
like
God.
I'm like super like no, I'm like organized, and like also I'm very nurturing, but I'm also like
But
very
you're like ready to get the stuff done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's the list, and let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, let's just like, and why isn't everybody on time?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's like that. Like, so it's hard. I sometimes don't have patience, and it's and so you have to have that, like, it's humbling to have to really like it, to have to like release and surrender to the universe, because I'm not the one that's in control. I can't control what happens to me or know how fast things happen, but I can control how I react to it.
So true.
And I can control what I accept and what I won't accept.
Yeah.
And it's humbling.
Surrender is humbling. And I feel like surrender is such a theme for this summer. I don't know why, but I just keep feeling like it is such a theme. Like the process of allowing yourself to be in the moment in which you are now, to allow the change, to allow the shifts, to allow yourself to, I think in some ways, shine and be in the sun. I think there's something really interesting and powerful about the summertime anyway. And when you allow yourself to surrender to it, you're like, there's something else I can do. I just got to be here. I just got to keep showing up.
And trust that you've already done the, like, especially if you've already done a lot of the work to set it up, and just really trusting that you've got the foundation to handle it. And sometimes we don't trust ourselves to like know that we got it. Like in these some like I don't know if like you've ever had trouble like even standing up for yourself, where you're like, oh, like it's either self-worth stuff or just like fear of thinking that like you might get like
you'll be an
David
outcast.
Goliath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's like
you'll
a
get
lot.
eaten alive. Yeah.
I mean, I've had moments in my with my photography that I'm like, well, I can't stand up for myself, because then I'll never work again. Because I'll be that person that, but you know what? There's people standing up for themselves left and right, especially dudes. Dudes do it.
Very much in their masculine, stepping up, speaking up, unafraid.
Unafraid all the time, handle the business. I asked one of my my former employer, who's this very successful creative. I was like, hey, if someone did this with because he's in music, but I was like, if someone did this with like what someone did to me with my photos, with your song, what would you do? He goes, my lawyer would send them a letter. And I was like, it's that simple.
Right.
It's like,
but we often sit too much in the fear of what it will mean.
Like
what someone else will think.
Yeah, like, is it going to affect my relationship with this person, the community, like this and that? I don't want to ruin, like, I don't want everybody to look at me like I'm some sort of like a greedy blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what's gonna feel worse? You choosing someone else's like basically someone else like violating you. Essentially, because if it's like not an agreement, like it's kind of a violation, especially if you're creative and someone's taking your, you're in the creative field. Like if somebody's like taking out like a copyrighted work and using it,
it's awful.
Without like proper compensation or even acknowledgement or permission, it's a violation, and that's not a relationship you want to salvage anyway.
Yeah. But you know what I think is really interesting about what you just shared is that often in order to create change in terms of how we do business, how we interact with each other, how we show up, whatever it might be, however it manifests itself, it starts with one person having the courage to speak up for themselves and to stand up for themselves and to stand in that masculine and say, hello, this is me. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to proclaim it. And if someone doesn't like it, then we're just not an energetic match in that moment. But it's more important that I take care of myself. But it's a journey to get there and to get to that space with yourself.
And you're a lawyer, dude. So it's like, and so you have like you have to have that, like, especially at work. I don't know about like my personal life might be a little bit different, but like at work, you're like, nah, dog, I got the law. Like, this is what it is. So
it's
that's
very
cool
cut and dry
because you have a system.
Yeah,
place.
and I think it's interesting for me. It's interesting to have this dichotomy and this balance of the logical, the masculine in my day to day, and this more creative, feminine.
You're creating your balance,
yeah, but you have to do it, and I think it applies to you too, and in what you're doing with your business. And I've got to ask you before we wrap up, because we've been talking for like an hour and 15 minutes. Hilarious, and you and I knew this is going to happen, and this just means we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, but
I want to ask you 2 things.
Cool.
Okay. First one. What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Okay.
And then I'll hit you with the next question.
Okay. Okay. The best piece of advice I've received probably, I guess recently. Oh, I would say I'm going to give it to the, like really recently.
Yeah.
Was with the session I had with Jamie Woolrab. He was amazing. He during our session he had me affirm that I am a goddess and I do not suffer for fools. So that's like one of the things that's my like new mantra, is that I'm not going to suffer for fools, for people who are just playing with me. And that is in my personal life and in business.
And that's standing up for yourself.
Yeah. I'm working on my boundaries.
Yeah. So important.
I'm totally working on my boundaries in both personal and professional. And that's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the mantra for the summer.
That's the moment right now.
That's the moment for me. And that's like why I think the lesson comes back to you dressed up in a different outfit. Like my boundaries, with men, with clients, like it's with friends and family, like I've got that luck, like that's fine. But it's like with the masculine aspect of life, the men in the business, both masculine energies, those have, it's like my boundaries are undefined, but like, and I've always taken the brunt of the sucky part, the burnt toast. So,
and this is your opportunity and your moment to define them.
I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm going to keep suffering the lesson. I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep getting.
And you don't need to.
I'm going to keep getting crap sandwiches served to me. And I ain't trying to do that. That's
No.
No.
All right. My last question for you before we go. What is your biggest dream?
That's good. It's shifted. When I was little, I had a very clear dream of like what I wanted my house to look like, where I wanted to be. And I knew that I wanted to be like in California. I knew that I wanted to be like acting and stuff like that. But that's shifted so much. That's like, it's not even like, I'm like, what is, like, I don't even like, I mean, I'm in California, but,
that part you got locked down.
That part we got. Yeah. That check mark. But like my biggest dream is just to be able to continue to like do work from a place of joy and hopefully be able to still connect with people and be able to live in abundance and make money so then I can be able to make enough money to where I live comfortably and not just comfortably to like to thrive.
Yeah.
To thrive. I can like do, because that's what money is energy. It's your ability to express yourself and the ability to be fully in this body and in this life. So that's what money is. And that's also like old paradigm patterning from my family, super Catholic, Hispanic, coming from like a very poor. Yeah. So that's like in my DNA it's like trained that I don't deserve money. So, or like that we have to work really hard for it. That's also a false.
Yeah. That karma that's like in your DNA, in your blood. So
I feel like it's my duty to sort of like break that.
To cleanse it.
Yeah. And so that's a part of my dream is like to really like cleanse that and hopefully like set like my like even just like if I can do some energy work around that to like hopefully set myself for like my future generations free, that'd be great. And so I could just chill more with my family. I love my family. I'm obsessed with my niece and nephew. They live in Louisiana, and I'm obsessed with my dog. So it's like I just want to spend more time with them,
I love
and like
that.
continue to work in this arena in one way or another. I just want to help people shine and grow and capture it.
I love that.
In whatever way that manifests.
Yeah.
I've stopped being tied to how it looks.
Yeah, I was
since
gonna
it
say,
always
I feel
shifts.
like you're there, like you're doing the work, you're in this space, you're in California. I think often, we create a net for ourselves of where we want to be. We have every like detail, but I'm learning for myself at least, it's more important to cast a bit of a wider net, but within like a space that I know I want to be in.
You gotta point the ship in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah. You got to know where you're aiming, and you do. Thank you for doing this with me. I have loved, oh my God, this has been so much fun, and we could literally talk for forever. Where can everybody find you, learn more, get their aura photo taken with you?
So, on Instagram, it's Auraology. So it's like the word aura and then ology. There's an underscore before and after. We can all get at the person that has the regular Auraology, but I lost that battle. And then my website's auraology.net. I also lost the battle with a .com. It's a lot of battles lost, but you know what? We winning. We out here winning.
We are winning.
We are out here winning. But you can find me on Instagram. That's the best way. That's the best way to keep in touch with like what events we're doing. We put up on our Instagram what the events that we're going to be doing are, and they pop up all the time. We're always traveling somewhere.
I'm just so excited for people to hear this, and I love where the conversation went, and we'll do this again. This was so much fun, and thank you for this photo, which I cannot wait. I can't wait for people to see this because it's fantastic. Thank you.
And it'll be interesting to see in 3 to 6 months, like how you've shifted, especially like once you've allowed yourself to like receive the things that you're trying to receive.
Once they start coming in, it'll be interesting to see where we shift into.
Yeah.